I'm locked up because she got knocked up.
Stupid. Do not put that in a blooper.
That'll tell me what the blooper around here.
Oh, man.
Them buttons okay, bro? Your whole ass chest. What do you...
That was funny.
You good?
Yeah. I'm good. Namaste.
All right, sure.
Welcome to the Embracing Parenthood podcast, episode 3. My name is Nick.
And I'm Sarah.
And today we're going to be talking about weddings. I think before we go into weddings, we're going to talk about how we did on our goals this week. Sarah, what was your goal?
My goal was for us to have a date night in like we used to do back in the day and drink a bottle of wine. And we have not done that yet this week, but the week is not over. So
Still got time.
we're still going to.
We're going to, for sure.
We're filming this episode in the middle of the week because we're going out of town this weekend.
And my goal was to stick to our meal plan, something that you piggybacked on and said that you were going to do as well.
Yeah, I changed my mind.
And you definitely didn't do it, but I've done it.
I know. I'm very proud of you.
I had a French fry earlier to see if it was done. It was not done, so I did not have a French fry.
You spit it out.
So I have adhered to my meal plan for the week. And
Good.
I'm proud of myself.
I'm proud of you too.
The things we do for our children.
Mm-hmm.
In our introductory episode, and if you haven't heard that, it's just 2 episodes back. Episode 1, we talked about our relationship and how we met, how we got here. And for some reason, we just blew right past our wedding and us getting married. And it's a really fun story. It's a really cool story. And so we wanted to kind of talk about that today. So what's the first thing that people do when they decide they want to get married? I think normally you would say, okay, when do you want to get married? How much are we going to spend? And where do we want to get married?
Yeah.
And
The size of the wedding.
yeah, you have to know how many people you're inviting to kind of narrow down your venues. There was this place like in the backyard of where we were living
It was down the street.
that had everything we wanted. We were lucky enough to walk in there and to say, hey, what do you have available and when? And they had a date that somebody else had put a deposit down on and they weren't going to use. I don't remember why.
They canceled their wedding.
That sucks. But it worked out for us.
It's fortunate for us. Yeah.
Yeah. And they gave us a discount
For being a veteran.
And they had a lot of stuff that was helpful. Tables and chairs, a lot of things that like we didn't have to worry about, that we could just get straight through them to make it easy.
And they also let us bring in our own outside alcohol, which saved a ton of money.
Yeah.
Remember, most venues make you buy your alcohol through them, and they like jack the price up.
I don't know much about that because I don't have any other experiences renting large venues or anything like that. I knew that that was something that was important to you. And I think that's probably important for people to know, right? Like you have different kinds of venues that will either allow you to bring in alcohol or bring in a third party to serve alcohol, or they make you buy their alcohol. And I think it all relies on what kind of, liquor licenses they have. And that was super cool. That
Yeah.
We just kind of like stumbled onto this. They had a date and we really wanted to get married before your grandma passed. We thought she was going to pass soon.
Yeah.
We wanted that to happen. And then what's the next kind of thing that you look for? Now, we've got a date. It's like 6 weeks out. We have a venue. I don't remember the next thing that we did.
I think the next thing I was really concerned about was getting a dress, because usually you have to order. If you go in, you try on a sample dress, you have to order it because it's just like their sample they have. And it can take 9 to 12 months for a dress to come in.
Oh, wow.
And then you get it in, usually it's alterations. Like it's a process. I knew I was going to have to find something off the rack, which means you can buy it off the rack and take it home the same day. We went to a place that was in the Woodlands with my mom and my now sister-in-law. I think I tried on like 3 dresses. I remember I really liked the first one, but ended up going with dress number 2. And I remember it was really big. It was really big on me. And you were like, it's okay. My stepmom is like a really great seamstress. And she came over like the night before or like the week before our wedding. And she was like, honey, there ain't nothing to take in on this dress. It barely fit. Remember how you had to unzip it at the end of the night?
Yeah, I remember.
I couldn't
you were
breathe.
like, get me out of this thing. We had, so funny and so out of order, but we had Whataburger deliver honey butter chicken biscuits to the reception after everybody ate and after they danced for a little while. At the very end, we had these honey butter chicken biscuits, which we both love, just kind of floating around. Like people were stuffing their pockets with them because there were so many of them, just crushing.
I couldn't even eat one until I got my dress unzipped because I was
That's
just
exactly why we unzipped it. You were like, I gotta eat this. And
actually, it was already unzipped. Savannah had
on the
unzipped
sides
like
and tied it. Yeah.
yeah, she got like a ribbon from a gift and like unzipped it and like rigged a tie in the back to give me some more breathing room.
It was cool because I think after that, you had a dress, we had a venue, we had a date, and then we had to figure out guests.
Invitations.
We didn't.
No.
We decided to do digital invitations because we couldn't get fancy invitations done in that time. Nobody could. We could have them printed, but would it have been better to snail mail them than to send them by email?
No.
We had a very small window of people. There was like a price range between the next 10 people that we could have bumped up to that made the price for the venue insanely more expensive for some reason, which is totally strange to me. So we had to hammer down a list and figure out like, who are we going to invite? Honestly, we just started filling out a list of the people that we had spent the most time with after our family. We got our family down and it was mostly family.
Yeah, it was mostly family.
When we started adding our friends, we didn't know who was going to come and who wasn't. After the first day or two, I feel like we had RSVPs. We had hit our sort of like quota. This is the most that we can invite. And there were so many other people that we wish could have been there that we wanted to invite, but like we just couldn't.
Yeah.
If you got invited and you didn't RSVP before somebody else.
I think it had to do with the food too, the amount of food that we had bought.
Yeah, well, we had
I can't
to order the food. We hit our quota. We had the number of seats that they had for us that we could sit. We had that total. I think it was like 150 people, which is.
And then I think 140 actually showed.
Yeah, like 10 people didn't show. You know who you are. How dare your kids get sick or somebody else?
I don't even remember who it was. So
I'm just kidding. I don't really know either. I just remember somebody's kid got sick, I think. But yeah, we had a head count. Some people couldn't make it. That was a bummer, not being able to invite everybody. I think looking back on it, I probably would have just spent the extra money and invited everybody.
yeah.
Just made it kind of an open thing.
We just knew we had these looming costs that were going to be hitting us really soon with having 2 babies. So we had to be really mindful of our budget.
Yeah, we were super frugal. So you had worked in corporate sales, medical sales for a long time. And I don't know, you want to tell everybody about how we ended up doing our food?
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I used to work for a radiology group. And when I used to do like lunches and I did all of our Christmas parties, I planned them all for the company. And every time I started using Berry Hill Catering because it was just, I had a relationship with the catering manager by that point. I had her cell phone number. We had a texting relationship at that point in time. So I just shot her a text really quick and I was like, hey, you want to cater my wedding? What would you charge per head? And it was, I don't know, I want to say like 11 or 12 bucks a head for all of the food.
Really
and
affordable.
I mean, like a janky Italian place wanted like $15 or $16 a head for like spaghetti and breadsticks.
Yeah.
So we were like, Berry Hill it is. We're having Mexican food at our wedding. And
Berry Hill is this place.
they're not even open anymore.
yeah,
and I'm bummed about it. I
They
don't know what
closed
happened to her.
down. We bought all their food and they just didn't have any place. So
It was so much food.
we had food to send home.
Do you remember my cousin took it home to College
Yeah.
Station and he fed his fraternity for like a week with that leftover food?
We live in Texas and Tex-Mex is fajitas and chips and queso,
Runs through our blood.
guacamole. That's always a great thing to serve at weddings because people love that kind of food, especially around here. And anybody visiting would be lucky to have it while they're here. So it worked out perfectly. And they just happen to be one of the best places in the area for that food.
We got a deal on that.
We did. It just kind of worked out where they had people come like help us.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, they had people set up this buffet and they came and they were like filling up the chips and filling
Oh,
up
they
the
were like
meat.
servers. They were like
Yeah.
working the buffet too. I forgot about that.
And they were walking around and picking up people's empty plates and stuff like that too with the price of the food.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't just like the food was super affordable. It was also that we got all of this stuff with it as well. How was this happening? Everything kept lining up.
We called in all the favors.
Everything.
Photographer.
I had a client that was a wonderful photographer, and she gave us a great deal on the pictures. She took forever to edit our photos, but I still love her.
I think the paying customers probably got bumped to the front of the line, so I can understand that.
Yeah, I was never mad about it.
No.
It's one of those things where
we got it back for our 1-year anniversary. It was special.
Exactly. And then you had a cake person.
I had a cake person.
Do you remember the kids? Hold on. Tell me the cake people.
Okay, so Nick's favorite, like Nick could go without ever having cake again in his life. His favorite thing in the world is a chocolate chip cookie and donuts. They're his favorite thing on the planet. So for instead of doing a groom's cake, I wanted her to do chocolate chip cookies. And I think she did 3 different kinds of cookies too. Mm-hmm. And then I wanted a donut wall. I saw it on Pinterest, back to our last episode, Pinterest ideas. But anyways, so I rented a big pegboard. We got donuts from Nick's favorite donut place, which is Shipley's, and we stuck them on all the pegs. Well, my son and Nick's daughter, gosh, Luke was like 3 and Lainey was how old, like 6, 5 or 6. So before we were like there for hours before the wedding, getting ready and setting up. And I
don't even think Luke was 3 yet.
No, he was 2. It was like 2.5, I guess.
Yeah, 2.5.
Maybe not
she
even.
She was 5.
Yeah, gosh. Anyways, they were running around like insane hamsters on a wheel. We were like, what is going on? We go over to the donut board and all of the donuts from the entire bottom pegs were gone. They had eaten like half a dozen donuts apiece. We were like, oh my gosh.
And so many cookies had disappeared
too.
Man,
they were just so jacked up on sugar. We had a babysitter that night and she had to take them home early because they crashed.
Yeah, it was somebody that we used regularly. She was not prepared for that situation.
Oh man, they were just, I remember us sitting outside with them while she pulled out the car and both of them were just, Luke was hysterically crying because he had sugar crashed and it was so late. Lainey was just exhausted.
They were speaking in tongues. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I don't recommend it. But a big Pittsburgh tradition is a cookie table.
Yes,
so it's an Italian cookie table. So it's a Pittsburgh specific tradition, and it is one of my favorite Pittsburgh traditions. But it's where all of the family comes together and they make these Italian cookies, these traditional cookies. And they have a cookie table at the wedding and they put bags out and you fill the bag with your cookies. And that's kind of like your wedding gift or whatever. Living here in Houston, my family in Pittsburgh wanted me to have that tradition here. So my aunts and my Mimi up there and my stepmom got together and they made all of the traditional Italian cookies. I can't remember if they mailed them here or if my dad brought them down. Maybe both. I can't remember.
I think he brought some, and I think they mailed some.
They mailed some too.
It was a lot of
cookies. A lot of cookies.
They put a lot of time into it, and it was so thoughtful.
It was, and I framed like the history of the cookie table and put it on the table, and that was really cool to have.
I ate so many cookies and donuts that night. It was awesome. But yeah, I mean, at that point in time, we had a favor on a photographer. We had
cookies and
cake and
donuts.
Food. And at that point in time, we had a friend that had either just had a wedding. Yeah, she just had a wedding. She lent us like some tablecloths.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there were all these things that I think you need.
All of my girlfriends band together too and helped set up that morning.
I knew, and it's so funny because if you live in Houston, you know what HEB is. It's this awesome grocery store. A gal that I work with is really good friends with the girl who runs the floral shop at the Conroe HEB. I didn't know if they did big events like that, but they're like a full-on floral shop. And the flowers were awesome. They did us on really short notice, got us in, delivered this beautiful flowers arrangement for the cross behind the stage. And then we moved that to our table, I think.
Yeah.
In during the reception, we had a friend do the video work.
And your friend was a DJ.
Yeah. He wasn't the best DJ.
No, he wasn't.
No, he got our
first dance song wrong.
Wrong.
I was standing there like, what song is this?
He's such a good guy too. And I know he felt so bad, but like anytime I see him to this day, I
You have
absolutely
to.
give him the hardest time.
No, you give him a hard time.
I do. I
You
know
don't
it's
ever
really
give anybody a
hard
hard
to believe,
time.
but like he played a song that is the same title as the song that we danced to. And it was clearly not.
I don't remember
dance
what it
song.
sounded like, but it was not like a wedding song at all.
Is it an accordion that has the piano and the like wind bag?
I don't know, but I like this hand motion that you're doing. It looks really
it's
authentic.
That song that he played for our first dance, like we're out on the dance floor in front of 150 family and friends, and like an accordion starts playing. And I'm like, cut it. That is not it. And he's like, what? I had to go over there and find it online.
And I don't mean for like us to go through these things and make us sound like we're cheap and trying to just use all of our friends to get good deals on things. But I think our point is that everything fell into place so easily, and like our like tribe of people really banded together for us, and it was really beautiful. And
it was more special to me because of those things. And I think what made it important to me, what made it special to me beyond it being our wedding, was those little pieces, those little touches, having someone that we loved involved in every aspect of it. We had friends help us with alcohol.
oh yeah,
Southern Star Brewery donated some kegs. My wonderful grandparents picked up some of the tab, the liquor behind the bar.
My friend from high school did my makeup.
Yeah. I mean, we had all of these little touches where things that we either weren't expecting like people to pay for, they helped us, or it wasn't like we were trying to skimp out or anything, but we knew we had some obligations coming up, and every little bit counted at that point in time. Twins, it is as expensive as it sounds. It's crazy. And
It's not buy one, get one free.
no, the other one is as expensive as the first one, if not more.
Especially when the second one is Logan Dillard.
Oh, he is needy. I love him. And I think the outlook for our wedding was let's get the most that we can out of what we're willing to put towards this. And if you're looking at getting married and you're trying to figure out how much should I spend, what should I do, I think it's great to kind of get out there and think outside the box. What's really important is the people.
The people and in the marriage. And that's why I kept telling him, like, if this is too much pressure and too much stress, like I am fine going, to City Hall and getting married, because at the end of the day, I just wanted to be married to you because you're the love of my life. But I think what made that whole day so worth it was the actual ceremony.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
Our vows are framed. We wrote our own vows. It was awesome. We picked that music out.
Yeah, that was awesome.
With all of our.
Do you remember Luke trying to walk down the aisle?
Out of control.
Yeah.
I cried.
I cried.
You cried. I cried again. It was special. And I know that you look at it differently than I do as far as like the moment, but I just wanted that moment. I know you didn't need it. I didn't need it, but I wanted it. I wanted it because when I met you, I didn't know if I was ever going to get married. And I was totally okay with that. When I did decide to get married, I wanted everybody that I cared about to see me commit to you in a formal ceremony before God. That was important to me. A lot of people get married for a lot of reasons, whatever, right? But the stresses of getting a wedding put together, I don't get it.
It wasn't stressful at all.
We just had this wonderful, crazy string of luck on how things happened. I don't know how else to put it. I look back and it's still one of the best days of my life. Mm-hmm. The things that we have to remember it.
I know. The one thing I wish we had done though was hired a professional videographer.
Yeah, we don't have great video because there were some technical difficulties. The photos are good. We have really good photos, but we don't have
very many.
We don't have a lot.
Yeah.
All of the memories that I have from that day they're really all that I have to look back on.
I know.
And I kind of prefer it that way. I don't know that I would feel any differently if we had a team of 10 photographers and a videographer to go back and look at that stuff. I don't know that it would change how special that day
No,
was.
not at all. But it would just be fun to go back and rewatch.
I've got a grainy video we can watch.
Yeah, that was shot on an iPad, I think. Yeah.
When you think about what people are going through, right? So we've talked about the venue, the guest list, the food, the cake, all the different things that you have to figure out for a wedding. Comparing our experience to like a really expensive wedding, it's so easy to get out of hand.
Oh, yeah.
You could add $10 to a plate of food for 150 people and you're spending an extra 15 grand on the wedding, right? Like, is that good math? That's 1,500. We've learned that I'm terrible at math. But you can add so many little elements, the flower arrangements, the DJ, the dance floor, all the different little knickknacks here and
Having
there.
a wedding party, we just had a maid of honor and a best man. But when you have a wedding where you have 10 bridesmaids and 10 groomsmen, then you've got to do the personalized robes that you wear to get ready in and all the matching things. And you got to pay for bouquets for all of the girls and boutonnieres for all the guys. It can get out of hand really quickly.
And I think that is a good thing that we didn't have to worry about that.
There was just no, I don't want to say drama, but there was no drama. You know what I mean? Like if you get a group of 20 people together that don't know each other, there's always going to be some small element of drama. And we just didn't have that.
I have been the glue that has held numerous groomsmen parties together.
I'm sure you have.
And I mean, yeah, you get out of hand. You're boozing it up beforehand, making questionable decisions on the days that lead up to that.
You did that though.
I of course I did. You were pregnant, so I mean, it is what it is. But I think you've got this. I don't know if it's an obligation or if it's like just tradition. But you go out and you act a fool with your guy friends before you get married. That's what people do. The closer to the day of your wedding that you do that, the worse idea it is. Like, back that stuff up. And I've been to a lot of weddings where like it's like a bachelor party 2 days or a day before the wedding.
That's a terrible idea.
Oh, people are crazy. Thank God we didn't do that.
We did our weekends. It was my birthday weekend because it doubled as my birthday thing with my girlfriends.
Like just 2 weeks before.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks before.
Which is that was perfect.
Yeah.
The day was great. I think we had champagne and then we had sparkling grape juice for you.
Do you want to talk about too how our rehearsal dinner, we didn't even plan for it to be this way, but it ended up being a gender reveal at the same time?
Yeah, that's right. So
I would have put $1 million down saying that I was going to have twin girls. I was fully convinced that wives' tale of the higher heartbeat is supposed to mean you're having girls. And so I had Luke's heartbeat to compare it to, and his was really low. So his held true to the wives' tale. So then when we went in and we would hear the twins' heartbeats and they were in the I think it was 178, 180, and they were really high. And I was like, they're girls. I'm so excited. 'Cause my mom was a twin and I wanted to have little girls. And I just was I would have bet all the money in the world. I did an at-home blood test. It was called Sneak Peek. And you could do it at, I think it was 10 weeks when you were 10 weeks pregnant, which was sooner than you went when you go.
I think it was 8. You could do it really early.
Maybe it was 8. I mean, we could look it up. It's called Sneak Peek, but it was sooner than waiting to go to the doctor to find out the genders. So my friend had to help me. And it sounds really simple, prick your finger and just get the blood in a little vial. But no, you prick your finger and it doesn't just neat like a little water faucet, drip into this tube. I had blood all over my hand. It was all over my fingernail.
Nobody makes me bleed my own
Nobody
blood.
makes me bleed my own blood. But I mean, and you had to get a lot in this tube. And my friend was literally milking my finger, trying to get all this blood out.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I sent the results off and they email you the results. And we were sitting at Papacito's where we had our rehearsal dinner. And while we're sitting there, I get the email with the test results. And I'm like, oh my God.
And just to be clear, I wanted nothing to do with twin girls. I wanted boys bad. I don't know if it's a guy thing. I wanted boys. I already had a daughter. She already had a son. So we were on the opposite side of the fence. We both wanted the best of both worlds. I won.
Yeah. So I got the thing. And so because they were identical, we already knew they were going to be identical because there's only one placenta. We knew whatever the gender was, it meant that they were both going to be that. So opened it, said XY chromosome, boy in big blue letters, and I burst into tears. I was really afraid of how it was going to affect Luke. I thought he would feel left out because, they're twins, they're all boys, they're going to have this special bond. But I think it would have been even harder if they were girls.
Yeah, because he gets to do things with them.
They get to do things together.
So we were, as original as it sounds, also eating Tex-Mex for our rehearsal dinner.
Runs through our blood.
That's a cost that you have to consider for a wedding is a rehearsal dinner. You get your family and your wedding party, which was our family, together for the rehearsal dinner. We were at this awesome Tex-Mex place, Papacito's, up here in the Woodlands. We had like a little private room in the back, like the smaller one. Didn't expect that email to come in, and you may have been upset, but everybody else was partying. I just remember like the whole thing was just a really happy moment for like your family, for my family. And
I was freaking out, and I didn't sleep at all that night.
I mean, you weren't sleeping anyway. You were miserable, but you had a really hard pregnancy. I'm so sorry.
We had to do that progesterone shot the morning of our wedding.
Yeah, we were still doing those shots.
They let us do it that morning, so we didn't have to do it that night in the middle of the reception.
So let's recap. You're planning a wedding. You've got your venue. You've got a date. You've got a head count. You've got food. You've got a dress. You've got your cakes. You've got
wedding party.
Your wedding party. Your rehearsal dinner. You've got, I guess, you got to figure out what the grooms and the groomsmen are wearing. We just wore suits that we already had, which worked out perfectly. We've got flowers and alcohol. You've got
photographer, DJ,
videographer. We figured out all of those things like that. It was perfect. I can understand how other people stress out about that. There were no hiccups. Nothing went wrong.
Mm-mm. And if there was something that went wrong, we weren't aware of it.
The people around us made sure that was never an issue.
Yeah.
You know what? My brother flew down with Lainey.
Mm-hmm.
So she was here. Besides the fact that you literally could not breathe and eat a honey butter chicken biscuit at the same time, no problems. And we hope that you have the same experience with your wedding because, man, what a great way to start off a relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, you had this big, fancy wedding in your first marriage.
Yeah, I had been married before, and I had this very elaborate and expensive, fairy tale wedding and didn't have a fairy tale relationship. So when we were planning this wedding, I think if I had never been married before, I would have been a little bit more of a bridezilla, and I would have really pushed to have a more like elaborate wedding because I think I used to equate that with a better relationship, and it definitely doesn't. So when we went to plan this wedding, and I wanted to keep it intimate, I wanted to keep it simple and focus on what really mattered, and that was us.
I think it's something that a lot of people think, though. I mean, you think that you don't often get together with that group of people. Like when you're getting married, everyone that matters to you or to that relationship is there.
Yeah.
That can be there, right? And so like you want that to be the foundation of this kickoff of a wonderful relationship. And so like when you see people who you won't see all the time, they're going to be like, hey, last time I saw you, you were getting married. Now you look so happy. Like you want that to be the beginning of a continuing stream of wonderful things. And honestly, I don't know how people do the big elaborate wedding because
they pay people.
You have to. You must have
to. They hire
to.
people.
Because if we had those stresses, I don't think I would have enjoyed the day as much.
No.
I don't think I would have enjoyed the lead up to it as much. Like we were genuinely excited about that day. We have a wonderful relationship now. Like we're happy, and we didn't dig ourselves a deep, deep hole that we couldn't get out of. We didn't spend our parents' money in some crazy fashion. Like we did everything right. And I'm proud of us.
Me too.
So I guess we got to talk about some goals for next week, huh?
Yeah.
We got to figure out what are we going to do to challenge ourselves to be better parents and better people next week. We recorded this episode a little early, so we haven't finished our goals. I'm going to stick to it. Sara has already blown past the sticking to our meal plan thing, but
I'm not perfect.
it's hard when I see you eating those French fries, though. Crushing the boys'
You
Arby's
kept
French fries.
trying to swipe them off my plate, and I'm like, you've come this far. I'm not going to let you.
Girl can play some defense for sure. I don't know what my goal is. I was thinking we have been talking about putting the boys in T-ball for a long time. I was thinking we could get them gloves and try to see if they can throw and catch this week.
Logan definitely can already do that.
I doubt he can catch in a glove. It'll take some time. But they make these little gloves that are kind of softer for like little kids.
We have one that was Luke's. It's upstairs.
Yeah, like a softer ball that we should like play ball with them, play catch with them and see how they do. Because they just don't seem interested in riding bikes at this point. And I don't know why. It's driving me crazy. What are your goals?
I don't know if this is something that I can achieve in a week, but I do want to start trying to learn how to play Minecraft.
Oof.
So my 6-year-old is
one of 9.
he loves video games, and I recently just banned him from playing Roblox. If you're a parent with a child, look into that because there's a dark side of Roblox. So I deleted it off of all of our devices, and I'm encouraging him to play Minecraft because you actually learn things from it. Like the other day he was like, I need 6 logs to build this house, and there's 4 sides, and he like was doing multiplication, not even knowing it, and I'm like, that's awesome. It's actually teaching you stuff. So he asks me to play with him all the time, and I usually am able to get away with just saying, I'll watch you play, but then I end up just sitting there and I get distracted and I don't really even end up watching him play. So I really want to learn or try to learn how to play. So it's something that he and I can do together because, he's not quite the typical kid where he's going to be playing a sport that I can really like go cheer him on. It's not like he's going to be playing baseball. I don't think be able to cheer him on. So
he's playing baseball.
So I really
everybody played baseball with a kid that was terrible at baseball. It just is what it is.
I don't want him to play something and feel like he's bad at it.
It doesn't matter. He'll play.
So I want to be able to really like support him in something that he loves and is good at.
One of 9. Well, good. We both have
children related goals.
I like it. High fives.
Also, he's going to be Steve from Minecraft for Halloween, and his costume is hilarious.
For what?
For Halloween.
For Halloween?
It's even in my vows that I would say Halloween right because I can't say the word without you making fun of me, and I don't understand how I say it weird.
I don't know either. We'll get there though. And I love you. Well, thank you for listening to our wedding podcast. I hope that you found our story interesting and maybe even a little educational. You can definitely put together a wedding on a short time frame, on a budget, and it can still be a rock star day. So keep that in mind.
Beautiful day.
And listen, if you guys have questions, feel free to holler at us. We'll definitely kind of tell you about our experience, and hit that subscribe button. We'll see you in a week.
Check out The Embrace, www.theembrace.com.
I've been blocking it with my cup all episode.
That's what you do. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
You can't sit up straight?
No, I mean, can you hear me when I sit up straight? I gotta be like this.
Wish a motherfucker would.
Okay.
I feel like I need a White Claw for this episode.